All right, welcome to another deep dive. And today we're going deep on Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by Harv Eker.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, we've got a good stack of sources for this one.
Yeah.
We've got a book review from White Coat Investor.
Okay.
I always like those. They're always good for doctors and their finances.
Yeah.
Very skeptical.
Yeah.
And then we've got one from a blog called Books You Gotta Read.
Okay.
So that sounds a little bit more positive.
Super optimistic.
Yeah.
Like a different perspective.
And then a couple just basic summaries of the book just to make sure we're hitting the key points.
Nice.
So yeah, did this book actually hold the secrets to wealth, or is it just another one of these self-help schemes?
Yeah. Is it hype or helpful?
Right.
We'll find out.
Exactly. Let's start with White Coat Investor.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I feel like everybody has rolled their eyes at a get-rich-quick scheme at some point in their lives,
For
right?
sure.
It's like,
Everyone's seen those ads.
yeah, exactly.
Like late at night.
Yeah, the infomercials and all that stuff.
Sort of.
So I feel like White Coat Investor probably has a good take on this.
It's a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
this book, it's interesting because it's not really about investment strategies, which I think a lot of people would expect.
Right.
It's more about what's called a wealth mindset.
Okay.
So it's really about your beliefs and your kind of deep-seated ideas about money.
Okay, so like how your mind is set up about money.
Exactly, like how you think about it, how you approach it.
Interesting.
And Eker breaks this down into his 17 wealth files, which I think we should definitely dive into.
Yeah, and I feel like some of these are, they definitely make you think.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like one of them that stood out to me was that rich people believe I create my life while poor people believe life happens to me.
Yeah, that's a big one, right?
It is. It's like, how much agency do we actually have?
Right. Huge question.
And then he also contrasts how rich people are excellent receivers, while poor people are not good receivers.
Interesting.
Which, I don't know, that one kind of threw me for a loop a little bit.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one too.
And then, of course, he's got the classic, rich people focus on net worth versus poor people focusing on working income.
That's a classic for a reason, I think.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on these wealth files so far? Like, do any of these resonate with you?
I think what's fascinating to me is how they force you to confront this idea of personal responsibility when it comes to money.
Okay.
Like, it's so easy to blame outside forces,
Yeah.
the economy, the government, whatever.
Yeah.
But Eker is really pushing you to look inward
Right.
and examine how your own beliefs might be holding you back.
Yeah. So it's not just about circumstances. It's also about, like, what's going on up here.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of your
Yeah.
financial reality.
Now, White Coat Investor does bring up some valid concerns.
Okay, like what?
Well, for one, Eker never actually defines what rich means.
That's a good point.
So it's kind of like, who is this advice even for?
Right, like, are we talking millionaires? Are we talking
Right.
comfortable? What is it?
Yeah, he doesn't really clarify.
Yeah.
And then there's also that undeniable self-help marketing push,
Oh, yeah.
like seminars and expensive products.
It's that classic, like, sign up for my course, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
And then, you're on the hook for thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I'm always a little bit wary of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a red flag.
It is, for sure.
But, even with those concerns,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's still some valuable insights in his core ideas.
Okay.
Like the concept of a money blueprint.
Mm.
That's something that really resonates with me.
Okay, so you're saying that even if we don't buy into the whole package,
Right.
there might be some good stuff in there.
Exactly. Like maybe there's a nugget or two of wisdom
Okay.
that we can take away.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. We have that other book review from Books
Yeah.
You Gotta Read.
Right.
And the author of that review actually ended up working with Eker's company years later.
Oh, wow.
So she's got this really unique perspective.
Yeah, that's firsthand experience.
Yeah.
With his principles.
Exactly. So we're going to find out if it actually works.
Yeah, like does this stuff actually play out in the real world?
Exactly.
What's what I want to know.
And what's really interesting is that both reviewers, even with their different experiences,
Yeah.
they both seem to agree on one fundamental thing.
What's that?
Your mindset around money matters.
Okay.
Whether you call it your money blueprint, your financial psychology, whatever you call it,
Yeah.
the way you think about wealth has a huge impact on your actual financial decisions.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's where things start to get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because if our beliefs can actually influence our financial outcomes,
Right.
then understanding and potentially reshaping those beliefs could be a game changer.
Okay, so maybe Eker's onto something here.
Potentially. Yeah.
Okay, so before we jump into all 17 of those wealth files, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and dig a little bit deeper.
Sounds good. Okay, so you're ready to jump back into Eker's wealth files.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we left off talking about this idea of a money blueprint. Essentially, it's a set of beliefs that we've developed about money.
Hmm.
And they come from all sorts of places,
Yeah.
Our upbringing, our experiences, the messages we've absorbed from society.
Okay.
And these beliefs, they can have a huge impact on our financial decisions.
Yeah, like our habits,
Exactly. How we spend, how we save, how we invest.
how we feel about money even.
Absolutely. It's all connected.
So it's kind of like the software that's running in the background of our financial lives.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Okay, so now I'm kind of curious to get into some of these wealth files
All right, let's do it.
and see, if we can extract any wisdom from them.
Yeah, like even if we don't buy into everything Eker says,
Right, exactly.
maybe there's still some valuable nuggets in there.
Okay, so which one are you thinking about starting with?
Well, the one that always kind of jumps out at me is that file #1.
Okay.
Rich people believe I create my life, while poor people believe life happens to me.
Right, that's a big one.
It is, and it's a little provocative.
Right. Yeah, it kind of makes you squirm a little bit.
It does, because on the one hand, it's empowering to think that you have control over your destiny.
Right, like you're not just a victim of circumstance.
Exactly.
But then again, you can't ignore the fact that there are systemic issues.
Oh, absolutely. Like poverty and inequality,
Right.
those things are real.
Yeah, so how do we reconcile those two ideas?
That's the challenge, right?
Yeah.
I think it's about finding that balance
Mm.
between taking responsibility for your own choices,
Okay.
but also acknowledging that the playing field isn't always level.
So it's not about blaming yourself if things are tough,
No, not at all.
but it is about saying, okay, given the cards have been dealt, what's the best move I can make?
Exactly. It's about focusing on what you can control,
Yeah.
even in the midst of challenges.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, moving on,
Yeah.
another one that I always find interesting and maybe a little controversial
Okay.
is file #8, rich people are willing to promote themselves and their value.
I could see where that would be controversial.
Yeah, because there's a fine line between confidence
Right.
and arrogance.
Exactly. Like you don't want to be that person who's always bragging.
Oh, totally. Nobody likes that guy.
Yeah.
But I think what Eker's getting at here
Yeah.
is that it's important to be able to articulate your value,
Okay.
to communicate your strengths.
So it's not about being a show-off.
No.
It's about being able to say, hey, this is what I bring to the table.
Exactly.
And doing it in a way that's genuine and authentic.
Absolutely. It's about owning your worth
Okay, I like those.
and being able to express it clearly.
Now, this next one, I think, is going to be relevant to a lot of people.
Oh, which one?
File #11. Rich people choose to get paid based on results.
Oh, yeah, that one's a big one.
It is, and it kind of challenges that whole traditional 9-to-5 mentality.
Totally. It's about breaking free from trading your time for money.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice? Like, what are some examples of results-based income?
Well, you've got entrepreneurs,
Okay.
freelancers, people who work on commission,
Okay.
even some types of investors.
So basically, anyone who's not getting a fixed salary
Right. Their income is directly tied to the value they create.
or the results they achieve.
Exactly.
Now, that sounds exciting, but also kind of scary.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, what about stability?
That's the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
You give up some security,
Hmm.
but you gain the potential for much higher earnings.
So it's not for everyone,
Definitely not.
but it's something to think about.
It is, especially if you're feeling kind of stuck
Yeah.
in a traditional job.
Okay, so if someone's listening to this and they're like, that sounds interesting,
Yeah.
where would you recommend they start?
I would say start by figuring out what you're good at. What are your skills?
Okay.
What are your passions?
And then what?
Then look for ways to monetize those things.
Okay, so like freelancing,
Yeah, consultant.
maybe even starting a small business.
Exactly. It's about creating multiple streams of income.
I like that.
And don't be afraid to network.
Okay.
Reach out to people who are already doing what you want to do.
Yeah, find some mentors.
Exactly. Learn from their experience.
All right, and last but not least, we've got to talk about file #17.
Okay.
Rich people constantly learn and grow.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one for Eker.
It is, and this is where he really starts pushing those seminars and workshops.
Yeah, those high-ticket programs.
But I want to focus on ways that people can learn about finance and investing without breaking the bank.
Oh, absolutely. That's so important.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite resources?
Well, there are tons of great books out there.
Yeah, but
Podcasts like this one,
of course.
online articles, even free webinars.
So there's really no excuse for not learning.
Not at all. There's so much information available.
And it's about making it a habit,
Right, like setting aside some time each day to learn something new.
even if it's just for 30 minutes.
Exactly, those little bits add up over time.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here with these wealth files.
We have.
What are some key takeaways that you think our listeners should really focus on?
I think the biggest takeaway is that your mindset matters.
Okay.
We talked about that money blueprint.
Right.
It's so important to become aware of those subconscious beliefs.
Yeah, those beliefs that might be holding us back.
Exactly, and then start to challenge them.
Okay.
Replace them with more empowering beliefs.
So it's about shifting from a scarcity mindset
Right.
to an abundance mindset.
Exactly, believing that there's enough to go around.
Okay, and then what about Eker's advice about surrounding yourself with successful people?
Well, I think there's definitely some truth to that.
Okay.
The people we spend time with,
Yeah,
they influence our thinking.
they rub off on us.
They do.
So it's important to be intentional about who we let into our inner circle,
Exactly. Find people who inspire you
who lift you up.
and who challenge you to grow.
Okay, and then finally, that emphasis on continuous learning.
Yeah, never stop learning.
Right, whether it's through books, podcasts, courses, whatever.
It's about making it a lifelong pursuit.
Okay, so I feel like we've given our listeners a lot to think about here.
I hope so.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to leave them with one final question to ponder.
Okay.
If you could design your own wealth file, what would it be?
That's a good one.
Yeah. What one belief or habit would you prioritize above all else?
That's something for everyone to think about.
It is, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, share your wealth files with us.
And if you have your own stack of sources that you'd like us to deep dive into,
Yeah.
don't hesitate to send them our way.
We're always looking for new material.
All right, that's it for this deep dive.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep. All right, so we've really gotten into the nitty-gritty with these wealth files.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
But I want to make sure we bring it back to our listeners.
Of course, yeah.
What does this all actually mean for them,
Right, like how can they actually use this stuff?
Exactly.
Well, I think the first step, and this is important even if you're totally skeptical of Eker's whole shtick, is to take a hard look at your own money blueprint.
Right. That set of beliefs that we keep talking about.
Yeah, those deep-seated beliefs about money.
Okay.
Where did those beliefs come from? Are they actually serving you?
Or are they holding you back?
Exactly.
It's like taking inventory of your financial mindset.
Yeah, you got to see what you're working with.
Right. You can't fix what you don't even know is broken.
Exactly. So start by becoming aware of those subconscious scripts.
Okay.
Like, do you find yourself constantly saying things like, I'll never be rich, or money is the root of all evil?
Those are pretty common ones.
They are. But where did those beliefs come from?
Yeah.
Are they based on actual experience, or did you just kind of inherit them from your family or society?
Okay, so once you've identified those potentially limiting beliefs, then what?
Well, that's where the real work begins.
Okay.
It's about challenging those old beliefs and consciously replacing them with more empowering ones.
So it's not just about getting rid of the negative.
No.
It's about replacing it with something positive.
Exactly. Like instead of saying, I'll never be rich,
Okay.
what if you started saying, I'm open to creating abundance in my life?
Subtle shift.
But powerful, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
It's about changing the story you're telling yourself.
Now, what about Eker's advice on surrounding yourself with successful people?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I mean, I get the idea, but
They can be tricky.
yeah, because you don't want to just be chasing after people with money.
No, not at all.
It's more about,
It's about finding people who inspire you.
right, who have a positive mindset
Yeah, who are living a life that you admire.
and who can maybe offer some guidance and support.
Exactly. Mentors are so valuable.
And it's kind of like that saying,
What's that?
you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, it's true.
And then, of course, there's that constant emphasis on learning and growing.
Right, that's a big theme in the book.
And it's something we can all do no matter where we are on our financial journey.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be expensive courses or anything like that.
No, there are so many free resources out there.
Books, podcasts, articles, you name it.
It's about being curious and staying engaged.
Yeah, learning a lifelong habit.
And speaking of lifelong habits,
Yeah.
remember what we talked about with results-based income.
Right, breaking free from that 9-to-5 grind.
Yeah, even if you're not ready to quit your job just yet,
Okay.
you can start exploring other ways to make money.
Like side hustles?
Yeah, freelancing, consulting.
It's about diversifying your income streams.
Exactly, creating more options for yourself.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground with Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
We have. It's been a journey.
We've explored the hype, the helpfulness, the whole shebang.
And hopefully we've given our listeners some food for thought.
Exactly. And to wrap things up,
Okay.
I want to leave everyone with one final question to ponder.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you could design your own wealth file,
Interesting.
what would it be?
What one belief or habit would you put at the top of your list?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, and if you have your own stack of sources
Right.
that you'd like us to deep dive into.
Send them our way.
Absolutely. We're always looking for new material.
All right. That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.